My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my ranking of all 5 seasons and the movie of Luther. And this video will have spoilers, so there's your warning. You might be thinking to yourself, Gavin, how can you rank a movie along 5 seasons of television? And look, Luther has very short seasons, and season 4 is 2 hours long and the movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes long. So I feel like it's totally justified to count it as its own season, so it's being included. So let's get to the worst season, and I went back and forth with the bottom 2 seasons, but I eventually landed up with season 5 being the worst. I just hated it. It is so unremarkable and boring and forgettable in every sense. It's 4 hours long and it felt so much longer. And it's just a retread of plot points and scenarios that we've seen time and time again by this point. Oh, the bad guy has Luther on the phone as people he cares about are with him. Okay, been there, done that. Oh, one of Luther's friends sacrifices himself. Okay, been there, done that. Oh, Luther is being arrested, accused of a crime he didn't commit at the end of this season. Been there, done that, and none of it has any weight. It's like they're trying to make you feel stuff, and they just completely and utterly fail. And I really hated the treatment of Alice here. She was such a big character, and I felt like she went a little too crazy in the end, and her death lacked any bit of impact, and it's just a mess of a season. So that's why it's the worst. The second worst season is season 4. Look, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't remember a single thing that happens in this season. The only reason why I put it above season 5 is because it's 2 hours long. So if I had to choose, I would watch this, but yeah, I've completely forgotten. I know they have to go get Luther and get him back in the game at the beginning. And yeah, it's all blank. That's how unremarkable and boring and forgettable this show can be. The third worst season is season 2. And I pretty much forgot everything about this season as well. I know Alice is in the beginning of it. There's one really good scene where the villain is killing a bunch of people with a hammer. That was one of the better moments of the entire show. And the finale had some tension until it just went too off the rails and it got too contrived. But it did have me for a little bit there. But all that aside, it's just another empty, forgettable piece of shit season of television. The fourth worst season of Luther is season 3. Now, this season, if I remember correctly, has 2 different villains. And the first villain takes off people's shoes, and the second one's like a vigilante. And I liked the vigilante and his motivation. That was decent. There was one tense scene in an attic that I liked. I think that was this season. And the final episode had a chase scene that was pretty decent, up until it got really stupid and Luther just showed up remarkably in time and saved the day. But it does have a couple decent moments here and there. It does have a couple decent elements here and there. It's still a very bad season. You know, Luther gets set up for a crime yet again, and it just has 0 weight. It just reminds me that this is one of the most generic shows out there, but it's better than the other seasons I've already mentioned. The fifth worst season of television is season 1, and I do like what this first season kind of promises. The fact you've got this unhinged cop dealing with his personal issues as he's trying to solve cases, that by itself is a really good story, and I wish the show leaned into it. You know, someone who's just morally corrupt, who's supposed to represent justice and good, and how he's just none of those things. I feel like you could have gotten a really great character study, kind of like in Better Call Saul or even BoJack Horseman, where you're just watching someone do stuff that you know is wrong and it makes you feel sick to your stomach. And I wish that's what the show was. And you see that promise here a few times. And you've got everything with him and Zoe. And she dies and Luthor got set up for it. I'm like, okay, this might actually be a great season of television. Like, how long is this plot going to last? And it gets resolved way too quickly to the point where it has zero weight. Zoe's hardly mentioned ever again. So she feels completely insignificant now. And then you've got everything with Ian, who's just a very forgettable villain. You've got the case of the week format, which really didn't work for me. And I don't know, it's better than all the other seasons that I've mentioned. It does have promise. It is better, but it still, by the end, falls short of what could be. And it's just a very frustrating season of television. So the best season, the least worst, is the movie, The Fallen Sun. And I guess everybody hates this movie, and look, it's heavily flawed. The direction by Aimee-Ffion is so incredibly flat. There's moments that should have a punch that just don't. I feel like it's pretty generic. Andy Serkis has one of the worst wigs I've ever seen. But I do think Cynthia Weaver is legitimately really good here. I like some aspects of the plot with her kid being kidnapped and these people being blackmailed and Luthor being on the run, forced to work together with the people after him. I wish it was done better, but it's at least got interesting elements and it has better pacing. It has the pacing of a movie, first act, second act, third act. It really moves by quickly. And maybe not quickly, I don't know. Look, it's really not all that good. It does have better pacing, and it does have some decent performances. But I think just after hating so much of the show and just being bored and just finding it utterly lifeless, that this movie, by comparison, felt a lot better than it actually is. It's far from greatness, but I'd take it over any season of the show by far. So that's why it gets the number one spot. But what's your ranking of the Luthor seasons and the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.